Have you ever felt like putting Satan's little slaves on a war zone?
Ready to serve!
Yeah, me too. Kingdom Rush is a tower defense game franchise, and Vengeance is the 4th installment. Released on November 22nd, 2018, it's a sequel to the previous game, which was called Origins. The big difference between this game and all the previous games is that this game lets you take over the role of the villain. So basically you are the Darth Vader of this game now. This game also brings a tower loadout system to the franchise. And that's pretty much it for all the new stuff, that is. But if you don't know anything about this game or the franchise, then let me tell you this briefly. For starters, Kingdom Rush Vengeance follows the same formula of every single Kingdom Rush game, which is a typical tower defense game. Placing towers on the side of a path and destroy enemies. The enemies appear in predetermined waves, and the objective is to defeat the waves before they reach the end of the path. Using towers and certain abilities, letting too many enemies through results in a game over. And what makes Vengeance a special game in the franchise? Like I said, the loadout system and the loadout mechanic, the new heroes, and one thing, the gems currency is removed. Which is a good thing in my opinion. Whoa, stop. I need to stop myself here. There's no gem shop in the Steam version, only on the Android and iOS version. And since this is a Steam version review, I need to make clear that luckily this is not the version with the gem shop. Oh yeah, and one more thing. I love the cartoonish and very accessible art style. I think pretty much everyone will love this art style. And if you don't,
I'll fucking
kill
your parents!
We have 3 difficulty settings: casual, normal, and veteran. Casual is the easiest, obviously. Normal is just normal, but the waves are coming in quick succession, so you better keep an eye out for all the enemies. And veteran is basically a hard mode, and it's very hard if you don't know what you're doing. Once you beat the level on normal or casual or veteran difficulty, you unlock 2 challenge modes: the Iron Challenges and the Heroic Challenges. The Iron Challenge basically means you fight one elite wave of enemies with only 1 life and only one certain amount of towers. In the Heroic Challenges you have all the towers available again, but you still have 1 life and you have 6 elite waves now. These modes make the game more interesting and lets you play more content, and the replayability becomes higher because of this. There are 4 bosses, and the bosses are Jokil, Bolger, King Dinas, which you have to defeat with your own boss, and the 2 ancient ghosts. I really didn't find any of these bosses very hard. Maybe the 2 ancient ghosts were the hardest because they have both a different mechanic that plays into them. One ghost spawns on the left side of the map, invulnerable to armor attacks, and the other one spawns at the right side of the map, invulnerable to magic attacks. You also have heroes to aid you on the battlefield with their abilities and their special attacks. The game has 13 heroes, which is an unlucky number, I know, but I'll go over them briefly. The first hero you unlock is the basic starter hero, Varuk. He isn't immensely strong, but strong enough to get you through the first couple of levels, at least until you unlock the other heroes. The most important things about this kit are: he is deployable, which deploys 2 units with decent health, and his special ability is he regenerates health constantly. Then on to number 2, Azera. She is very mobile, and also due to her quick movement ability, and her Toxic Rain is her special ability, which basically rains down pain on enemies. The third legend you unlock is Olok. He explodes when killed, and he can move a small group of enemies back with one of his abilities, and this is very useful for enemies that are fast and agile. Then you have Morgosa. She's hot. Now, but seriously, she does have a unique thing about her kit, because she is the only hero to have a stand switch in the game. Then you have Mortimus. When he dies, he spawns zombies, so basically zombieapocalypse.exe. The next one is Tremen. He jumps, and he has a box that he can place in front of enemies, and bombs walk through them, dealing 170 damage. In my opinion, he's the worst hero, so I don't pick him very often. Then you have Jigu. He basically has the same thing that Varuk has. He regenerates health constantly. And he has an ice zone, which slows enemies for 60% for 5 seconds, which is an immense amount in this game. Then you have 3 dragons. There's nothing really interesting to say about them because they're pretty much all the same. Then you have a fucking tank, a Doom Tank 911. When he rolls over enemies, he damages them, and he basically has a 911 attack because he has a plane attack. Then you have Junpei, and he has Last Stand. No, not the fucking Call of Duty Last Stand. He also summons creatures that deal damage. That's basically it. And then the last one, which is my favorite one, I think, it's The Dark Horseman, or basically just a pumpkin on a horse. Jack-o'-lantern. He's very fun to use because he has a very funny voice back and I really like him. Now on to the towers, and I'm going to mention the towers that I use and not every single tower that is in the game, because otherwise this video would be half an hour long and I don't want it to be that long. My current loadout is the Melting Furnace, which has average range, very low reload speed and decent attack. Then I have the Spectre's Mausoleum, which basically is in my kit since forever. This tower has really good attack, decent reload speed and a really good range. And he also has some pretty tough skills like hold extra specters. Then I have the Bone Flingers, and they are good. They have a very quick reload speed, one of the fastest in the game. They compensate that by dealing not that much damage, but their range is a little bit worse than decent. Then I have the Orc Shamans. They are amazing because they have very high attack, but they compensate that in reload speed because their reload speed is pretty much non-existent. Their range is very good though. And for the last tower, the Blazing Gem. This is basically the tower that I really like the most just because of his visual appearance. The magic damage he does, the reload speed is decent and the range is decent too. Then you also have upgrades. Upgrades that aid you in the field. You have upgrades that aid your reinforcements, and you have upgrades that increase your damage that the soul impact does. Also, you have upgrades for your heroes. There are 70 achievements in this game, and pretty much all of them are from Easter eggs. We have a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of little tiny details, and you'll have a very fun time figuring out where all of those are, because every single map has their own things and own Easter eggs to uncover. And then you beat the game and you have the biggest PP in the whole world. You also have environmental enemy lines, as I like to call them, which basically means you have to look very carefully for hidden enemy lines that enemies can come spawn from and come down from. The maps are very detailed, and because of that, you will struggle with it if you don't place towers there in time. Now, another thing. There are people out there that play this game like they have no soul. They basically try to play this game without any good heroes and without any upgrades. And then you'll have a very hard time. I don't think you can even complete the whole game without any good heroes or any upgrades. I'm a sucker for this franchise. I really hope they make another Kingdom Rush game, but I highly doubt it because the story of this game is pretty much done now, and I don't think they can expand it any further. But if they do, I'll be sure to cover it. I personally think this is not the best game of this franchise, and that's mostly because of the bosses not being that hard, the levels not being that hard, and it's pretty much an average game to begin with. Now, all of you are waiting for me to give a rating to this game. I'll give it 4 oranges out of a frying pan. I hope you all enjoyed this video. It took a really long time to make, so a like would be appreciated. And then I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Bye-bye.